In other words, he explained to Donovan, it should appear that the dead Germans and Italians were the victims of a French reprisal against shooting of hostages by the Germans and other acts of German terror, and not an OSS operation. Assassination plots were not the only thing on Eddy's mind. At about the same time that he was recruiting French hitmen, he wrote to his family about the sacrifices he was making for Lent. He described the Easter season as abnormal this year. I'm certainly abstaining from wickedness of the flesh, he confessed. With his wife thousands of miles away, that was not too difficult. I haven't even been to a movie since Lisbon. I don't overeat anymore, and I allow myself a cocktail at night, but never before work is all done. At the time, he was attending services at the local Anglican church. The small community of congregants, he wrote home, knew that fellow believers around the world were joining with them in the act of consecration and penance. He told his family he was thinking of them, and that he was praying that all of us come through to better days when mercy and charity again return to the earth. The calculus was clear for Eddy. To honor the death and resurrection of his Lord and Savior, no movies, no fleshly wickedness, and not much booze. Pray for mercy and charity to return to earth. And in the meantime, covertly arrange for the murders of Germans, Japanese, and Italians. The war, the assassination plot revealed, seemingly changed everything for religious activists turned spies like Eddy. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe assassinating those who did the devil's handiwork represented the logical culmination of their sense of global Christian mission, how they planned to bring peace and charity back to earth. If they hoped to restart their religious work after the war, they first had to defeat the evil that blocked their path. Perhaps for Eddy and dozens of other holy spies, serving a secretive, clandestine U.S. wartime agency tasked with defeating German and Italian fascism and Japanese militarism was another way, maybe the best way, to serve the very same Jesus they sought to emulate as missionaries. They were never quite sure. The U.S. government closely guarded the secret that missionaries and religious activists had become spies and assassins. The cover-up began with William Donovan. At the end of the war, the general pivoted from battling Germans and Japanese to planning for the post-war world. The OSS leader hoped that the United States would establish a permanent foreign intelligence agency. After the ticker-tape parades and impromptu street corner kisses had ended, he took to the pages of Life to make his case. He highlighted how his organization had used hard work and old-fashioned American virtues to contribute to the Allied victory. His amateurs in intelligence, he boasted, showed what intellect, diligence, courage, and willingness to get around can accomplish in a supposedly esoteric realm. Donovan worked to reassure readers that his operatives were good, patriotic, respectable Americans, and not the liars, cheats, and scoundrels many people at the time associated with spycraft and secret police like the Gestapo. The heart of American wartime intelligence, he surmised, included a collection of highly implausible operators. Then he named them: scholars, researchers, economists, engineers, historians, sociologists, linguists, anthropologists, and experts on labor movements. In other words, everyday professionals populated the OSS, people just like you and me. He recruited his officers from universities, private research institutions, commercial businesses, law firms, and labor organizations. They included many of the nation's best and brightest men and women. But these were not the only people Donovan had recruited. The spymaster intentionally hid the fact that another group of Americans had played a substantial role in wartime intelligence gathering, espionage, and covert operations. Dozens of missionaries, missionary executives, priests, religious activists, and at least one rabbi also worked for the OSS. These operatives exchanged their calling to serve God for a more temporal and temporary duty. As Donovan made the case for what was to become the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, he ensured that the stories of the OSS's godly spooks remained top secret. He and his missionary operatives went to great lengths to hide, obfuscate, and sometimes outright deny their collaborations. Neither the missionaries nor their religious agencies nor American military leaders felt comfortable acknowledging